Just
This is what 2/3 of the graduating class? Oh, that's good.
good morning. How are you today? My name is Brittany Diaz, and this is my birthday experience. I'm Jocelyn. I'm Karina. I'm Brittany. I'm Pamela. I'm Julie. My name is Maya. I'm Desiree. I'm Salas. We chose the name Innocent Eyes because of the children that are in Guatemala that haven't been exposed to the outside. Well, our group's objective is to improve an orphanage in Guatemala. The way in which we plan on improving the orphanage is by enhancing the children's ability to understand their leadership, social, and communication skills. We know that these children have not been brought up in a family-oriented environment that can offer them these skills. So we plan on going over there, starting these programs, and leaving them with an experience that will go on with them forever. The reason why we chose Guatemala is because Guatemala is a third world country. Most of its population lives below poverty level. Most families are broken due to Guatemala's environment because it is filled with drugs, violence, and gangs.
The people of Guatemala have a hard time finding jobs because the economy is so unstable. The average of the
You're doing great, kid.
Thank you. The average of Guatemalan women have less than 2 years of education, so it's hard for them to find stable jobs. And Guatemala is divided into 10 different barrios in La Luna. They have rivalry gangs in every corner, so that's why people live in fear so much.
This chart represents the poverty level of Guatemala, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. As you can see, Guatemala has the highest poverty level than all of these countries and has the most percentage in indigenous poor.
Here you can see that the women's rate is the lowest rate of death, and
What's that line? I can do. What is that line?
this line indicates women, or homicide of women.
Oh, okay.
And here indicates the homicide of men, and the red line indicates homicide of men and women.
Wow.
Here's the dangerous station.
Okay. Well, we started a group called Innocent Eyes. It was both of us, me and Maya. And we were at Charter Partners Institute, and we were given this task. It was to find a solution to a problem. And we're like, well, we want to do something bigger than just a project. We want to do something that is actually still exists after we leave Lincoln, because Lincoln is known for leaders and for others to follow us, because we are leaders of tomorrow. And we got inspired with a story that we heard of a friend of ours, and he is actually from Guatemala. His name is Christian. He actually lived in Guatemala for about 9 years, and he was exposed to all these things like drugs, violence. He was abused at his home, and so then in Guatemala, he used to see people getting killed every day, and he thought he wasn't worthy anymore. He thought his life didn't have any meaning to it because he thought he could die at any moment. So then when he told me this, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And he's like, I came to the U.S. because my mother gave me my mother basically gave me an opportunity. She's like, go to the U.S., live with family, and you'll get more opportunities over there, because over here you're just getting in trouble. He even went to jail in Guatemala. And now he's over here, but his mother's still over there, so it's still a struggle, but it's kind of better. And
we met up with a gentleman called Bill Cummings, which he is one of the leaders in a program called Lemonade International. They deal with 2 schools in La Limonada, each holding about 150 students, and a small orphanage holding about 16 children. Changes every now and then. They work directly with La Limonada, which is one of the most dangerous cities, as Julia already explained, in Guatemala. So we decided to work along with them. This is a picture of La Limonada city. If you can see it clearly, you see how crowded the streets are, how horrible their conditions are. They barely even have a roof. So this is the city where we're working with in orphanage. The 2 programs that we plan on starting are 2 teams, T-ball and soccer. These are all the materials and equipment we're going to need, and we plan on getting the material and equipment by fundraising and by going to different corporations and businesses and offering and asking them to donate. We have heard from a lot of different people that they're willing, so that's what we plan on doing. We thought about how can we improve these lives? And we thought about whole educational programs, but they already go to school. So we were saying something unique, something that the kids will enjoy at the same time having value to the program. So we thought sports. Sports develop teamwork, independence, sportsmanship, responsibility. They learn how to work together. They learn how to reach a goal. They learn the difference between achieving a goal and failing. Sometimes life happens. You fail to succeed. So by having these sports, co-ed for the boys and the girls to work together, they're developing social skills that living in an orphanage, not having their families, they won't be able to develop. And it's also a way for them to have fun and to just release the stress from living in that horrible environment.
These are the expenses that we have to deal with. We want to raise at least $1,000 to cover it. We also want to raise another $1,000 for other expenses such as airfare, gifts, and things like that.
Some of the fundraisers that we want to do are pancake breakfast, Applebee's all you can eat, spaghetti dinners, car washes, t-shirts, respecting company donations, sponsorships, residential donations, and church collection. We're running our website, and we're trying to spread the word about what we want to do. And we have a Twitter page and a Facebook page. We try to update every day, and we're trying to get at least $1,000.
And this is a quote from our group, Innocent Eyes. It says, "We wouldn't want anything more than to see the smiles on these children's faces and show them that there is a rainbow after the rain, that everything good in life takes time. The world is filled with love. We just have to be the ones to demonstrate it. Too often we underestimate the power of a smile, a listening ear, an open and altruistic heart, or a caring soul, all of which have the potential to turn a life around." Group Innocent Eyes. Thank you.
Can I ask you, what is your greatest asset for raising the money?
Repeat that question, please.
What is the greatest asset that you have to use to raise the money?
Well, right now we worked on a few fundraisers, small fundraisers, just to learn how it is that the whole business works, because we're all new to this. We actually set up a few school-wide breakfasts where we make the breakfast.
Now, those are the fundraisers.
My question was different.
See,
Huh?
my question is, yeah, what you need, you identified it already, but just to have a fundraiser thing, but you need something that makes a connection with people.
What's motivating people?
What do you have that motivates people the most?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. Well, basically, we just go out. We're doing right now word of mouth, and we just explain the situation. And we do use Christian's story as an inspiration.
Is Christian here?
No, he lives in New York. Yeah, but he does.
He's your key player, that's why we thought.
Yeah. Do you have a video of him?
We don't have a video of him. We were working on setting up like a little documentary type thing for him, so that we can actually show people.
Exactly.
So that when we do say, hey, this is what we're working with, they can say that it's valid and we're not trying to scam people.
everybody needs an image of something.
You see, he's also right. I've done a lot of things with my brain. But the biggest satisfaction I get is for the things I did with my heart. I call them heart connections. I got a lot of them. And I get more satisfaction, more passion than any good business deal I've ever made in my life. Different value, different return, different investment. So you heart connected me with your presentation, hands down.
Thank you.
That is the key. Now what he's telling you is now to take the tactics that you present us and create a strategy that you will use these tactics to accomplish. And the strategy is the question you asked. Who is your heart connector? Either one of you that is going to say, I'm the face of Venus of Ice. It cannot be all of you. Somebody has to be the face. That face is the driving force. The rest, you support the face. It's the way things work. Now let me tell you something else. I'll show you a picture. This picture, see this? Her name is Sophia, she's 9 years old. When she was 10 months old, we're sitting in an orphanage. In Russia. Horrible place. I went to Russia twice, she's my daughter. Best thing I've done in my life. Look, it's my daughter. She's 9 today. I understand. I get it. So, that's a heart connection. Do you understand?
And it's not only me, the Christian to be the face, and people can look at him and say, I'm sure they can feel what he's been exposed to, the way he hopefully come across. Then you have the backup to say specifically, these are the conditions that these people live in. So you make the connection between a person in need who needs that, and then identify specifically how you have to test. I mean, you give the entire package, you really do. And it's a very realistic goal. I know initially when I heard about building orphanage, that's admirable, but it's what you're doing though. Every movement starts with a nugget, and you'll start a boulder running down a hill, and just goes a snowball. I mean, and I think you got the nugget, and if you can show success and interest, you may someday build that orphanage. Because just the passion that each one of you have for it, but it starts with a seed, and the seed that you're planting with love and the passion that will fertilize that seed into a tree, I think will really become significant.
I think that's what came across most to me is just the passion you guys feel about this. So taking what you're saying, like having Christian as your, I don't want to say poster child, but as your heart connection, but then you also need to have you in there showing how passionate you are and how passionate you are about wanting to do this. I think that would be very impactful. The other thing you need to do is you need to, have you ever been out to Kickstarters? Kickstarters.com is a place where people, it's called crowdfunding. So you go out and you post your project and what you want to do, and then people all over the world and all over the internet will fund your project. And they usually get something in exchange. So they would donate $25 and they would get their logo on the back of one of the kids' t-shirts. So there's an exchange in it. But lots of smaller projects have been very well funded at the Kickstarters.
Okay, now let me go now to the harsh reality. From my heart, I'm sold. But at the end of the day, any idea has a business side to it. So let's talk about the business side. What you want to do getting the uniforms, give them the tools to play. Go to Guatemala. I think a $2,000 budget, you lowballing the whole approach. It's a very low, you're gonna hit the wall, and I suggest you take that number and multiply 5 times. Because you shoot low, you get low, you shoot high, you get high. Nothing is impossible if the heart connection is there. Give me 15 minutes with your story, I will empty your package. The question is, do not lowball. When you go and say $10,000 is my number, people take you seriously. Now you can go and talk to big companies like Air Products that they will rather listen to somebody making a presentation for 10 grand than 2 grand. They won't even bother. So you don't wanna, it's okay to go bake cookies and wash cars. But you've got to go out there and look for the big nuggets. So my suggestion is try to find some people from the adult world that will love your idea, that can go and pick up the phone and make some calls on your behalf and try to get you what you want to go. There are plenty of people out there for that. You understand? But your number is very low. You can raise more money with that idea. I'm telling you, you will. And the thing that moves me, if a bunch of adults were here talking about this, or you talking about this, you are the value to the idea. Hands down. That's all I can give
You
you.
think of Air Products, and this group of professional young women comes walking into that.
You knock them
With
dead.
the compassion that you have, they'll probably write the first 10,000.
Absolutely. Do not lowball.
Do not underestimate your ability. And really, you're not selling, the ask isn't really what you're selling the compassion. You're selling your compassion for this project. The amount of money comes at the very end, after people are ready. You're not there asking for money, you just want to share with them this story and what you're trying to do. And at the end, they'll say, how can we help?
When
The
you,
question at the end is not going to be yes or no, it's going to be how much.
because when you do that presentation at your age, you make me inadequate. Do you understand? You raise yourself to a different level than I am. That's why you get the money, it's called guilt. So you gotta go for the knife through the heart and get the money. That's how I raise money.
For some specifics, I think what you could also, what it looks like is you've thought through the initial team costs, what it's going to cost for the first year for the uniforms, right? And then I think, like they were saying, the
You're gonna
cost.
have a long life.
Yeah, what are you going to do in year 2 and year 3 and year 4 and year 5? How are you going to make this self-sustaining so that this happens every year for these kids? You know, that it's not just, you know, a 1-year program, it's a 3 and 4, 10-year, whatever the program is going to be. And also how often, what's the, and then the details, I think we're seeing the travel money come up, is just thinking about what's an airline ticket to Guatemala, round trip, how often you gotta go. So there's a lot of details.
Where do you stay?
How long do you stay? Are you going to go down and volunteer for a month? Are you going to have other people volunteer? There's all sorts of organizations that you can, what's the, Sunco Without Boundaries, I think is another program that's out there, you know, so there's different programs that you can hook up that can also help you. But I think it just looks like the point you got to was, you know, we got this far of figuring out what the initial cost is for one year down there. But, you know, how you gonna go down, when are you gonna go down, how long are you gonna stay, how many of you are going down, year?
At the end of the day, guys, it comes down to ownership. If this is your project for junior and senior year, who owns this idea when you go to college? What is the ownership here? So maybe you need to form an organization that is Lehigh Valley based, a non-profit, that regardless what happens to you, there will be people to carry on the torch and the idea to repeatedly and constantly raise money, form a board, put people together, get some adults that can help you with access to other adults, and then you got it made. That will never die. You see, the concern I have is ownership. Who owns this? Not today. Who owns this 2 years from now? That you really need to think about.
I have the same consideration to that, but, I mean, the immediate need, because you will have to do some things structurally and things like that, but initially, you go, ask for contributions. I think you're gonna have to at least work with the academy to set up an account through the academy. 'Cause people are gonna
Some form.
Some say, who are we writing a check to? They're not gonna write a check to, I mean, you're not organized as a group right now, you're not incorporated, you're not
That's
a
right.
nonprofit or anything
You
else.
should have a-
So really, you need to work through the leadership academy. Some people would say whether it's a big contribution or something like that, but this way, at least people will know that there's some accountability for the money, that there will be some reporting of that funding, that is just going to something, so that, in fact, your donors who want to say, we will be sending out updates in terms of what we're doing, we will send you a financial accounting of where the money's going, so people can build trust in the organization, and know that it's not just, they're just giving us something and we have no idea what happens.
And that's a big part about having the Twitter and the blog and everything. Who's responsible for updating that? That's good, because a lot of times people look at each other and I'm like, yeah, but that's your, and then there are the type of updates that you can put out, like you said, on a daily basis. What's your website name? I'm sorry.
It's a nice 13.
13.
Webs.com.
Oh, no, 13, okay.
Do you, I see the organization right here. Do each one of you have a specific job according to talent? So, some people do things better than others or different than others. So if you don't, I think you need to sit back and try to, first of all, find out what are the areas we need to focus on to make this happen, and then who's the best in this area to do it. And so everybody will own a piece of it, so you're not running in circles. And ownership is a good thing. It's always ownership, guys. You own it, you live it, you keep it, you feed it, and it grows. That's the way it is.
And as part of that, one of the key areas, because you are soliciting, is identifying if media is going to be a big issue for you. That's the best way to get word out.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely,
you have to identify who's going to be a spokesperson.
absolutely.
I mean, and that might be hard between all of you, because you're all excellent speakers, you're all doing a great fight, but you need one person that will be the official spokesperson for the group. And, I mean, together you may decide what the statements will be, what we're going to say and do, but that's one of the positions to look at. Someone, again, would have to be your treasurer, someone who's good at keeping books, so that, you're keeping track of that. And someone else to follow up letters for contributions. So, I mean, it's not just a matter of saying focus on this, but there are specific, like you said, you're charged with the Facebook and Twitter and stuff, tweet and stuff. So, but it's very important that you all know up ahead and you all agree that this person's going to do it, and then let that person do their job.
Yeah, guys, you need to find, Don is so right, you need to find somebody, and people can help you, to write your story. I would love on a Sunday morning to read my paper story. Once the story is written, I don't care what, in a magazine, in a newspaper, in a local newspaper, that gives you the credibility to have the article in your hand when you go to the products and you say, by the way, did you have a chance to read the article? No, well, here's a copy. By the way, let's make a presentation, this is what I do. They're done. Go buy yourselves the best weapons possible to fortify yourselves when you go to knock on that door. It's some homework. Excellent. Good job.
If you don't mind me
What questions do you
saying,
have?
Sure,
one thing
sure.
that I am so prideful in is this group, what you had mentioned before, the treasurers, the spokesman, people, we each have a talent that lead us into such a good position. We have spokesmen, me and Maya are the speakers, Karina is a great with organization, data. we all have talents in this, and this is why we got as far as we did.
Claim your ground and take leadership of that piece.
You really have this foundation for being a very successful organization.
Good luck to you. You guys will do it.
I want to ask you guys, what questions do you have? What do you see as your biggest risk right now? Biggest challenge?
Sometimes, like, I'm not doubtful or worried. It's just that, like, it's just a thought. When you do present yourself to companies, will there ever be a time where they're like, oh, they're young? So, like, my question is, do we need an adult to always be with us and working with us to, like, actually go
No.
to companies? Or
Absolutely
You
not.
dilute your message.
No, absolutely not.
Keep the gizzards out of it.
You need an
Feel
old
the
person in the
message.
background to let people know that there's somebody with a financial overseer
No.
or something like that, but that's in the background and that's only when they ask the question.
The fact of purity, that you would have the guts to stand in front of me and tell me your story, that's all you need.
And you're what,
It's very powerful.
you're what, 16 years old?
Most of us are 16.
In between 16 and 18.
Yeah, just to say, I mean, it's,
No, you don't need it.
you really are, aren't you?
You have the message. Go.
Thank you.
Thank you.